thank you, Creaba's community, for having me join today as a facilitator and kind of like study together as well to discover and to explore more about 3D design. Just a little bit about the agenda of today's event. We're going to go through, I just finished with the welcome introductions, and I'm going to kind of go through a little bit of the steps of creating your first 3D model demos after talking a little bit about 3D design and so on. And after that, we're just going into this hand-on practice. Just after that, we will have a little bit of time to showcase and share feedback to each other. And after that, we'll open the floor to any Q&A or any practical tips sharing, something like that. If you have questions or concerns, or maybe something that you want to improve more at the end. So that's going to be the very basic flow of today's session. So I hope it's going to be fun. I hope it's going to be insightful and like meaningful experience for you as well. So without further ado, I'd like to go to a little bit of self-introduction. So my name is Trang, and everybody can call me B. And I have been living in Japan for the last probably more than 9 years, close to 10 years. And I've studied at school in Karizawa, actually, like the high school, an international high school in Japan. And I studied arts there, visual art, in a program called International Baccalaureate Programs. Unfortunately, I didn't carry it on with my art projects when I entered university, because I come into a completely different degree, which is social science, which is also very exciting. But I just felt like, it's always been the urge within me to kind of work on creative design and like creating visual arts and products, or any type of like things that work with my hands. So just a little bit of like, right now I kind of feel like I want to get back into the track of creativity practice and so on. So that's why I kind of develop this, well, it's not really a company or anything, it's just like a personal project, which is called Cubus.life, and it's more like my creative portfolio, where I use it to kind of demonstrate and express my artistic side, or like creativity side. So that's a little bit about my personal story. So I'm just wondering, and maybe you can put in the chat or raise your hands, but how many people here have experience working with 3D modeling? Like if you have yet, then I don't know how to actually, maybe give me like a thumbs up.
And if no, it's like thumb down.
Yeah. So I'm seeing quite a few thumbs down here, which is amazingly a lot of people. So I'm very honored to be probably the gateway for you guys to kind of first start your 3D modeling journey, or maybe just like a first dot of your, I guess, exploration. But my personal story with 3D modeling is just probably during university, where it wasn't really a creative project, but it was more on the business development project. So we kind of tried to ideate and brainstorm like a new products that can solve social problems. And the problem that I was targeting was environmental problems, which is plastic pollution. So the idea was to create this machinery that can precede plastic. And then in order to do that demo, we kind of start using 3D design to develop product like product blueprints, or basically just like a 3D models of like the machine that we wanted to build. And so that was kind of like the first way of me getting involved with 3D modeling. And the application I was using called, I think it was Fusion 360, and it was a free models. So it was really fun working with it, but I think I also had such a little time to explore it in a way. So I kind of like, just the urge of creating something. And somehow I just found the process of 3D modeling was really fun and really interesting for me. So I kind of start coming back to it again But generally, I just do more on illustration or like painting. But 3D modeling was something that for me was a little bit more practical and more to like convey the ideas more in more structured and more visualizable and more interactive way. So I use that group like product design one to show it to like our team members, so that our team member can actually envision what it is like to see, like to see it in reality, but also show it to like potential collaborator or like investors who might be able to help us to use that for to make it into reality product. But that's kind of like one of the function of 3D modeling. I think I'm just curious, maybe ask a question, like what do you think we use 3D modeling for? And maybe you can put it in the chat. Like what do you think we use 3D modeling for, or like 3D design for? Game design. Yeah, animation, definitely something super popular. And fashion, I think is big, is like 3D fashion, like 3D design for fashion is like one of the very ongoing market. For website, yes. Yeah, print out things like 3D printing. 3D printing is definitely one of the very important application of 3D modeling. Automotive, yes, because I think like to design anything of cars or engineering out like a part of the cars or the trains, you do need to have that into like using poster, graphic design, mobile interface. That's also very important one, and especially evolving one, right? Like because more UX UI designs require more interactive and more like catchy visual elements. So I think that's kind of like something are used. AI, AR, and I think VR as well. Like all of these virtual realities, new devices are all incorporate 3D modeling in. And so when you put on the glasses, all you can see around is like a very interactive 3-dimensional environment, and also like items that you have that a lot of engineering and a lot of designers has developed. And yeah, and 3D photo shoot set and so on. So thanks so much for putting all the good like functions of 3D modeling. And for the practicality of it, I think is like becoming more and more evolved over time. So even for fashion, for example, is also used in a lot of way to put on for the models, wearable 3D models for clothing and so on. So those are some very important function and practicality of it. So a little bit insight into the tool. I think some of you might be familiar with those words, but the key concept and tool used in 3D design are sometimes, so the modeling part is like the main kind of component. But beside that, there's texturing, rendering, animation, like someone mentioned, lighting, shading, simulation, and rigging. So rigging is a little bit aligned with animation, because rigging is basically kind of see how it how the movement kind of like put together in like movies or something. So you have like making the 3D models move or interact with the environment. Texturing is basically how you build them so that it looks like a certain, with the surface or a certain materials that you prefer. Rendering is most of the time to really take the information and the model that you build to make it into like looking more real or looking more like an actual object. And shading and lighting is like the environmental component and how the models interacted with the lighting and like the surrounding area of like the design itself. I'm still learning a lot about this, so I hope that we can also learn through together in terms of like different components of the 3D modeling. So just a little bit of, I guess, going through like Blender, Autodesk, ZBrush, Unity, Unreal Engine, and SolidWorks are some of the very famous and popular 3D modeling engines and applications. Maybe some of you might have heard of it, but Blender has been quite phenomenal in terms of like creating very like it's an open source software, and a lot of people use it for creating very animistic, like animate, like very like beautiful 3D design that integrate like very cute and detailed 3D models. Autodesk, I think they have a couple of different ones. So Maya, 3D Max, AutoCAD, Fusion 360. I think they use more on like the industrial designs part, where they like precise products development, like industrial product designs. And so it's quite important that Unity and Unreal engines, they are more on the gaming side. So a lot of people use, like a lot of companies use Unity and Unreal Engine for designing 3D like 3D game, like 3D games. So I think Animal Crossing, for example, also use like Unity for that. So I'm not really familiar with it, but this is kind of like something that like study a little bit on. And SolidWorks is also like very industrial and very precise. So a lot of measurement involved and a lot of dimensionals matters involved as well. So yeah, so today's focus is Warmth 3D, and the reason why I'm quite interested in this in this software, I mean website, actually is website, is that it's very easily like user friendly, like it's very beginner friendly. So if you have an ick for 3D design and you have no idea how to start, I think this is a great like starting point. So it's very fluid. It's very usable in a way that you don't need to have any engineering background, coding background, programming background, or anything to kind of just play around and make it something that's super simple and super volatile. So I thought that's like I started using it. I don't really remember how I found out about the app actually, but I kind of just play around with it, and I was like, this is actually great. So I think the way I see it is just like you playing with like clay or something like that. So yeah, and then it's quite educational, and it's cloud-based, so you can access it anytime, and it's have a quite interesting community and sharing like function as well. So I think the aspect of that is super cool. Okay, so so some key function, I think you might have experienced a little bit, as I guess the team asked you to like look through the platform a little bit, but some key function are community chat, material, supplement material, access to asset, like assets library, and discover new design and so on. So the thing is, I think that for Warmth 3D, I think that the asset library and the community chat is actually quite a nice function, because you can import or export or share your 3D design across the board, and so you kind of get access to that also open source functionality as well, which is really fun to see. And you can see a lot of people do pretty well with designing stuff, and you can learn the complexity of it as time goes. So before, okay, so this is a little bit of like the, can you see my mouse, like my cursor? Okay, cool. So I haven't really laid out anything, but I think the very fundamental part of it is to look like this. The difficult part is to, well, it's not really difficult if you kind of have a hang of it, but basically the most fundamental part is the object part, right? And so once you get into the object, this tool here, it's basically giving you a couple of shapes and a couple of tools that you can use to kind of look through and to kind of build the basics of the form that you want to build upon. And from there, you kind of mix and match and combination, like using different combination and so on to like branch that out. Another one is material, is basically the color, the textures, and you can set out the color, the textures, the reflectiveness of it, the transparency of it. So it's kind of like quite nice, like, and it's like real-time rendering, which means that you can see the change of the textures as you move the level, which some at some in some like application they don't really let you do that unless you put on the database, and like you have to wait for it to render it again, which takes some time, and like rendering sometimes takes forever. So for warmth 3, like warmth is much more like the response rate is faster, so therefore you can work on the new texture immediately. And for the lighting is also quite simple, like they have environmental light, and you can also set like different light directions, depends on whether you want it in the back or front of the objects, inside the object or outside of the object, so there's a little bit of flexibility there. Right now we're going to work on the free version of it, but once if you are passionate and you want to explore further, I also recommend you try out Pro, which I haven't tried out because, well, I'm still also a newbie. But I think in the Pro like function, there's much more to explore, especially the complexity of the textures. You have access more to like realistic materials and so on, and more color setting as well. So I think that's something that you can take a look into. I don't really know the camera yet, but I think the camera is basically where you set your scenes to look from, and different angles, and you can look into the object and so on too. And this is like the main area where you arrange your objects, like especially shaping them into like the certain group so that you can move them around a little bit easier. And so that could be demonstrated a little bit later on. And here this side is basically the setting for each of these things that you're working on. So the scene, like if you're working on lighting, you can set up like the light map rotation, the luminance of it, or like the, like the environmental, which the environmental is showing around the object. And then there's object, which is, I can show you a little bit more on the demo side. There's some kind of skills, adding object, rotating, resizing, layering, and grouping. Grouping is a little bit fun. I might have you tried using it? Who here have tried using the platform? You can give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. I would love to hear what your thought on it and what's have been the challenge, because for me, grouping was one of the biggest challenge, because I'm like, what is this thing? Like, what is going on, right? So grouping is actually quite unique for WOMP so far that I have been using, and it's actually quite nice touch to it, and I'll explain a little bit later. But layering and combining objects are something that also of skills that I think you can learn. And yeah, so this is also another function. This is like going from WOMP to reality. So I am excited because of this function, because it doesn't take so much of time to measure out anything. It's just as much as put together as a form, you can print it out in 3D printer. So yeah. Okay, so with that, I think we're a little bit on time, because I do want to have everyone have more time practicing together. But I would like to kind of introduce to you the first model. Have you played Among Us before? Cool. I hope everybody have that jam during COVID, because that's the only games I played during COVID. And I was like, why am I even playing this? Why am I so evil? Why am I lying? Who is blue? And who's me? Who killed it? Who vented it? And so I thought this kind of like an easy model to start with. So I have prepared like a small demo video of what's the process of building this model. I did kind of build this from scratch, but if you want to start, you can also use the warmed website right now to kind of see like how it's done, and maybe you can try it by yourself as well. There's no pressure to finish it because this is quite going to be a quick practice. It takes 30 minutes for me to finish this one, so it's a long time, but I just want to show you how I did go through the process. Okay, so oh, sorry. Oh no. So yeah. So first is kind of like you go to the object part, and there's a couple of objects this like option here, and then I think the most the most flexible option is curves, because you can use this add point function to add on to any additional like form that you want. For cube, cylinder, and spheres, like those are more on like the very defined structure. So if you know that your form is like a light, like a lamp light or something like that, and it has to be like long and so on, you can use the cylinder from the beginning. But from my experience, the curve function is always the most favorable one because of how easily moldable it is. So I'll start with that, and I'll move. In the curve, it started with a 2 point first. So if you think about it as like a clay, you can like two sides. You can change the size of each point with the radius of it, like by just clicking in the middle of this thing. Okay, yeah, like that. So you can change the radius of the circle like that, and depends on how much you want. So you can also use the X and Y and Z to move the position of each point of the curve. And yeah, basically you can just, and then this is like the part where I use the material function. So every materials that I use, like it's got saved, and it's kind of synchronized with any point that has the same material. So it's a little bit annoying, but you can use a duplication function to do that. Anyway, let me know if I'm going too fast, and if you need a pause at any point. Okay, if not, then it's okay. So I'm trying, like what happened is I make another curve and then kind of resizing it and positioning it in a way that is making a leg, and I can use the same saved material in this way for both point, and yeah, basically applying to the same material. And so if you can see here, this area, it becomes like, I'm sorry that is kind of cut, but this area become like the part where it's grouped together. So the area 1 is the main point here, with the curve as the main function, like the main part, with 2 points individually that's connected together. And then the area 2 is basically the first leg, which has also the curve itself, and like it's composed of 2 points basically. Oh yeah, so this is the good part. I don't know whether I can redo that, but the good part, what happened to the good part is that it's increased or reduced the merging of the part together. So you can have two separate things, but then with the grouping, it basically blends the things together, so it looks more like it's become like one thing. And that's why for the point itself, it's basically is a grouped like part, but because its group strength for curve is basically like very strong, so it's made it into like one that look like chicken. But yeah, so basically you can also move the cursor. This one I use, I think, global or duplication for this. Yeah. Do you have any question for this one?
Yeah. Feel free to use the chat, or like if you have any question, just ask Chang.
Yeah. Just like, oh yeah, so this is the goop strength, right? Like as you can see, like when I move this goop thing a little bit, it's makes it either more dense or less dense. And like how blended it is to the next object. It's a little bit long, so I'm not really sure whether. Can I move forward? Let me see if I can move this a little bit more. So yeah.
Oh, Chang, like how to do the mirror with.
Right. So the duping and mirroring is basically when you click on one point, and there should be one. I couldn't move the video so that I can go back to where it is, but basically when you click on one of the items, when you and then there will be like X, Y, Z, like in this part here, and so there will be like one part where there's be one part where you can click on the X or the Y or the Z, and then basically that will help you mirroring around that assets, and then you can basically duplicate the movement and the edits that you do to the object that you are fixing. It's a little bit complicated, as in I think it's because it's like you need to know the position of where that exit, like that mirroring, will be on the platform. So I think choosing the click of where you want to duplicate it will be important, but you can always undone it and kind of adjust the space between the object and the mirroring point, and then where it's going to land. And after that, it's kind of like looking, if like you just set up a mirror in the middle of nowhere and just like moving things around, and the other way would be moving things too. Can you group, like, I hope that explained, but I'll we can go back to it a little bit later. Can you group like 4 components at the same time, like 4 legs? You actually can. I think that works. There's also an option where you can choose all 4 parts, and then when you do any edit, like the 4 parts will kind of change like together, like synchronized. So let's say like if you put like the objects close enough, they will group, and when you fix, like you edited the group size, it will like expand or shrink or like dense out together, and in that way it's kind of like synchronized, so you can definitely group 4 things at the same time. So this part, I think it's the part where I will start using what is called the negative function. So what I do is to create it like a separate cube box to make the shape of the curve itself to be cutted, so it's flat. So you can see like the curve itself is like rounded around it, right? And I want a flat like outer screen. So what I do is to click negative on the form when it's there, and then because that was set it to be gray, so I just changed the material to like the same material with the curve itself. So now you have like a flatted area. Like, so the area include the curve and the cube itself. So when I move the cube independently, it just cut through. So negative point here basically means that it's cut through without the material. So it's basically negative material. So whenever you apply the negative, it means that that area will be cutted. So yeah, what I do is to move that curve. I make 2 cubes, so the front and the back of that curve is flattened. And so it's kind of like, just kind of like slide it with an invisible cube, basically. Yeah. I hope it's not too fast like the demo is. So I think it will be better if like we all kind of worked on it. But yeah. So I think those are like the main point. Any other questions? Or can you make the object move? I think for this application at the moment, we don't have the animation function yet. Although in a lot of other, like 3D design one, it has animation. I think in the future they might develop to that like level, because actually one of the illustrative part that I use, they do have kind of like animations into the part. So I hope in the future they will have the illustration. Okay, what menu allows you to choose the color of your material? So if you look into this menu here, when it click, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know why I can't click on. So the material part here. Let me just fix this maybe a little bit if I can. Just gonna move. Okay. Oh, it's moved. Oh, nice. Okay. So the material part, I think here. Let's see. Yeah. So here, you can see the material part that, you can choose the color. Is that clear for you? And I think the good part, someone asked about the mirroring, right? So the mirroring I used for this one was around this time. Let's see. This part. Oh yeah, so that's the group strengths. And then, so the mirroring is like right below the group strengths for the object here. You can choose exit ASIC. Oh no, sorry. Here, and then you can choose like how much you want to like synchronize it. Is that clear for you? Okay, so I think that's like the part of the demo, and this is the demo result. So it's super simple, quite straightforward, and yeah, that's the process. This is some of the other models that I built. This one is a little bit take more time. This take 3 hours or more. So I have a lot of respect for animators right now, because it's like it took them forever to build sometimes. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so this is kind of like, I guess, the process of making it. And I think like once you kind of master like those very basic skills, like you can build very complex models, because like the principle itself doesn't really change that much. And I think that's like the beauty of this app, is that the step or like the function itself is very easy to use. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to have a little bit more time for everyone. Yeah, so tip to start, think of the model as you playing with clay. So it's very malleable. You don't have to measure so much. Like we don't really have a ruler. We don't really have anything to kind of measure the dimension, and a lot of the thing is just like eyes work. So it's just like, oh, how does it look in like different form? Just imagine it as like you playing with Play-Doh and so on. Yeah, if you don't want to know what shape to use curve because it's quite malleable. You can cut it with the negative function to make edge it, but generally you can extend it like you can extend any point as an individual and independent point, and you can play around with the size of it, so it's quite nice. Like curve to me is like using sand on like a sand castle. So you're just adding new things and just like building up to what you have in the beginning. But the good thing is that you can also delete points, and the 2 point, if you have 3 point and you delete the middle one, is not disconnected. It just like reconnect the 2 points together. So you basically have less point in the middle of the form, but the whole object itself is still like cohesively like stick together. So you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, understanding the difference between negative and positive is good, probably good. Goop is ridiculous, yes, but it's very helpful. And the lighting can come last, so you don't have to worry so much lighting until like probably the last steps of like setting up the color, how do you want to export it, and so on. Okay, so it's time for us to build. So option 1, you can create delicious dish. So every on the warmed side, right now we do have a couple events that's going on, and one of the challenge is cornucopia, if I say it correctly. And you can choose this to kind of build like your food items, something like you want to, yummy or delicious or something like that. So you can try like build something like very simple. It could be a bread, could be just an orange, could be like a seed of watermelon, like could be a seed of watermelon, something like that. And this option 2 is freestyle in space. So you can think of like something interstellar, so like something space theme. So you can build like maybe a space car, a space human, aliens basically, anything that's funky, maybe a dice that could be like a space theme. So that's 2 options, but the other option is that you can build whatever you want, and at the end we'll come back. I think now it's 8:17, so maybe we can come back at like 8:40ish or 8:45 to kind of share together like the stuff that we have done. Is that cool?
I think that's okay. So like we can have like around 35 minutes for everyone. I can set the time. So now the time for everyone to practice, right? Okay, so yeah, if you open your WOM and also like practice on that. Like we will be back allow in 35 minutes and share the work also with everyone. Yay! Okay.
Awesome. So see you soon in 25 minutes.
Okay.
Does anyone want to volunteer sharing what you guys have been able to build so far?
But everyone really focus on their work actually. Yeah, I can see that they really work.
Wow, wait, you just made that?
Wait, I didn't. No. That's from Google. That's from Google. I didn't make that. No. Mine's really bad.
No, just
the other thing that I wanted to share was I made a light bulb, but like it's gone somehow. But it's really bad.
It's okay.
So I couldn't make it negative. Yeah, this is really bad. Sorry.
No,
like
this is good step. This is good step. So because like we have such a limited time, so definitely it's not something that we're expecting to fully build. But I think I can see where you go.
Myself.
Yeah. Oh, Reina.
And this is
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so this is my first time ever using WOMP, so it was
Yeah.
really fun, but I kind of had no idea what I was doing the whole time. I really struggled with getting to like freely move the objects together. This is mine.
Wow.
Wow. Is that a unicorn?
No, I was trying to make my dog, which is a
Wow.
Chihuahua.
Wow.
But I had a really hard time like moving, like getting the ears like equal distance.
Oh, I see.
So I'm
I
used to
see you
using
playing
like
the light there.
Photoshop and like pressing Shift or something in Illustrator to like make things even. But I wasn't sure that
Mm.
feature is here in WOMP.
Can you share like a little bit like what kind of the tone like you feel difficult to, or like struggle with?
All of them. Yeah.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
after this event, we also like have a group on Discord, and then feel free to ask Jang also like or like interact with one of the member in the group. Maybe like someone also like answer your question or like also share the same struggle with you also. So that's really nice. Keep connect and then just keep going on because also like this event is like for everyone is just the newbies in here, and we just like learn from each other. And we also can see like like Cohen, like he has also like okay, that's kind of like idea really nice and really with the foundation, and then you also the inspiration like with the like your dog, like really simple thing, and also like struck with them, but like still really impressive when I saw like also on of the picture. And I mean like it just like 30 minutes, right, Jan? Just like
Yeah. This is impressive. I also saw Tanya's the photos.
yeah.
That's crazy. Like that's also really impressive. Like the amount of like detail that you put in for the last one.
Yeah, sorry, it took some time to figure out.
Yeah.
That's
It
super
looks
nice.
a bit strange,
Yeah,
but it
can
was
you
really
ask
fun to
like
make.
inspiration for the character?
Sorry, can you say again?
Oh yeah, can I ask like what kind of like inspiration why you make that characteristic like that? It's so cool, actually.
I don't know. It somehow reminded me of a Hobbit. So the first thing I made was this green piece of clothes, and it after making this strange shape, it kind of reminded me of a character from like Hobbit or some leprechaun, something like that.
I
So
see.
this inspiration just came during the process. It's not that I planned to make it.
That's actually really nice. Just like 30 minutes, that kind of like impressive.
Like a game, pretty fun to make. Still, I don't know much about tools, so hope to figure out in the future. Thanks to you.
Okay, thank you, Tania, for sharing your screen, actually.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much, guys, for sharing all the great work. I mean, I think for Creaba, you can also drop it in the Discord group as well.
So we have like our Discord group, right? So like just feel free to share one of the image or also like the video or anything that we record you're working today in the Creaba community, and also like chat together after the event also. And once again, thank you, Jang, today for joining us. Us really appreciate your time, and then you also share your insights and also experience with the warm to everyone, and also like like your insight or like also your experience also give them kind of like motivation and try on the new thing, especially with 3D design thinking. And oh, by the way, I want to ask, like, is that okay with everyone for Creaba share your work online, on LinkedIn or like on our social media platform? Can you just have a thumb up for us? Yes. Okay. Thank you, you guys. And yeah, we really want to hear your feedback today too, also, for our upcoming event. And feel free to scan the code, and also let's put the link in here for the Google form. So yeah, we love to hear your thought, and also let's share your experience. What did you learn, or like how do you feel about the event? Like everything for our, to improve in our upcoming event also. So yeah, I mean, like I will give you like around 30 seconds scan, and also like we will put like the form link also in the chat. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Finally, I mean, like after the event, we also have like another event also like, about the vision boarding for creativity, as I said like at the beginning. So it's really nice. Also, you also like can use your idea to make like to roll your vision boarding, and also to reflect at half of the year what did you do, or like what did you achieve, and also like image or like vision the the rest of the year on. So feel free to scan the QR code, and also like we have like the link pin in the chat. Have a look, follow us on the Instagram to keep going with on the upcoming event also. Mhm. And finally, let's take a picture together also. Okay, so Mika, can you help me for that?
Yes, of course.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
share it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everyone, please camera, please. We want to see your beautiful face and smiling.
Okay, so let me just. Okay. Is everyone ready? Okay. So Tanya, are you okay with your screen? Is Tanya's screen? Okay, there we go. Okay, thank you so much. So let's do it in 3, 2. Hey, wait, let me take another one. It looks kind of bad. Let me take another one. Okay. Okay, 3, 2. Okay. Okay, it's lagging so bad. Let me just take a real quick on my phone so I can share on the Instagram if that's okay. And yeah, sorry. And
Feel free to make every face also,
okay,
please.
so everyone wave.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay. And okay. Thank you so much. Got it.
Okay, thank you, Mika, for taking picture, and also like yeah, we will upload your picture also on our social media. So if you feel not really go well with your picture, also like can tell us to cover your face, and so don't worry. And thank you guys for today, and also like spending time with us with Creaba, and also like with Chang. I mean, like it's a little bit overtime right now, like 2 minute overtime, but yeah, enjoy your day today, and take care with the heat in Tokyo. Also, if you are in Tokyo, and be careful for the upcoming earthquake. It's a warning. It's a warning for that. So yeah, thanks for spending time today, and yeah, feel free to leave on. So thank you, Rena. Thank you, everyone. Yes, enjoy your night. Bye.
For joining.
Yay.
Have a great night. See you.
Thank you. Thank you. Nighty.